Hi everyone, this is Lindsay Avalon, and I'm going to be perfectly honest, I wasn't entirely sure I was going to make this video. I don't know how long it's going to be, and I do apologize if I get a little emotional. I'm a woman, just deal with it. So, things got a little interesting on Facebook today. I'm not going to go into detail too much. A lot of the comments have been removed, and I've edited my original post and everything. But basically, it all started with a simple getting frustrated about how I get occasionally added to groups that I never asked to be added to, and quite frankly are really, really strange. And not only that, but I get added by people that I've never interacted with, and who then proceed to tag me on incredibly inappropriate pictures, which for me to think they're inappropriate, that's saying something. So, like many other authors out there, I posted a status basically saying, if you add me to a group, and I've never interacted with you or anything, I will report you for spam, because I'm sorry, that is spam. If you are putting people into groups that, I don't even remember what it was. It was like some weird occult group, I think it was. I don't know. But don't do that, people. It's really, really annoying. And I also said that if you tag me on pictures of half-naked chicks playing with their boobs, because that was pretty much what the picture was. It was not a photograph, it was a piece of artwork, and I really don't know what was going on in there, but I do occasionally get tagged by Facebook on random things. I've never talked to this person. I don't see why all of a sudden I'd get tagged on something of hers unless she did it deliberately. So sorry, back to the original post. So I posted, if that happens, then I will be reporting the post, reporting the poster to Facebook, and blocking, because look, it's not that hard to be polite and not spam. So this started a massive blowout on Facebook that I never anticipated. I do my best to keep things pretty neutral on my personal profile. For anybody who's curious, Lindsay Avalon is not my real name. It is a pen name. I keep my personal and private life very, very separate, while people in my private life know about my author persona. Next to no one knows from my author persona what my real name is, or things like that. I do that for a very good reason, meaning I prefer to keep my family separate and not to involve them in my writing career. But it's also because I'm very open on Facebook about my personal problems. I have struggled for most of my life with anxiety. Also have struggled with sensory processing issues that I've mentioned in another video. And about year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, things were going on in my private life that were just really hard. And I started to vanish from Facebook, as I like to put it. I really shelved a lot of my writing because as hard as I tried, I couldn't get up the desire to go on Facebook. It was one of the first things that just fell by the wayside. And I would vanish. A few people who knew my cell phone number and stuff like that, they'd keep in touch through texting, but I just avoided everything. And I felt horrible about doing that because I did know I had fans waiting for my next book. Well, I decided it wasn't entirely fair to disappear for 4 or 5 months, come back, make a few posts, be active for a couple of weeks, and then vanish again. So, even though it terrified me, I took the first step in admitting to having anxiety, and that being a big reason why I was keeping things so private. So, side note, I just realized this makes me look like I have a black eye. So if I can sit up and get a little bit better lighting. Okay, a little bit better. Sorry. So, where was I? So I first started being open about my anxiety, and I was really surprised at the response. I was thinking I was going to end up getting people posting about why am I posting about this? You know, there's a huge stigma on mental illness. And I was really expecting a negative reaction. And what I got was really surprising. I had a number of people message me privately thanking me for having the courage to speak out about what I was going through at the time. And it got me thinking. I may not be some huge author, but I do have a not insignificant reach on Facebook, depending on Facebook's mood and how much they want to spread my posts around. So I decided, okay, it's gonna be really, really hard to do this, but let's take a chance and be open. So that began the journey of talking about my anxiety, talking about the ups and downs of it. Sorry, like I said, this can get very emotional because this was a really hard thing for me to do. So basically, I would talk about what I was going through, why I would disappear, my journey to, try to get better, the fact that I would try different things. Through this time, I did a major move, a lot of things going on, personal life, like I said, and I also changed jobs, and it was just an incredibly stressful time. And there would be times when I would feel like everything was all better. And I would come back on, I'd be great for a few weeks, and then I'd crash again. And so I'd vanish again. Well, fast forward to probably September of 2014, when I finally was very open with my husband about the widespread pain I'd been feeling. And so he convinced me, even though I had gone once before to the doctor, to go back to the doctor and see if they could figure out what was wrong. He suggested that it could be an autoimmune disorder because it was in my joints. There was very obvious inflammation. You could actually feel it radiating from my skin. I would have issues with, I have not actually been able to wear contacts for over 2 years, even though I used to always wear them. The only reason you don't see me wearing glasses right now are because of the obnoxious glare. I don't want to bug you people with that. And I would have issues with, stiffness. I am 28, almost 29. I had trouble getting out of bed. If I had to sit still for more than 45 minutes, which is about the length of my commute into work, my hips would hurt, and it would be really hard to get out of my car. I drive a, small-ish SUV, and even just trying to step out of it would be so painful. My hands would stiffen up and be very painful, which was another reason why I couldn't really write. I'm a programmer in my day job, so it's not like I'm moving a lot. My hands would end up killing me within, really within like the first hour. They'd be so stiff upon waking. I'd try to loosen them up. They'd get stiff during the drive-in because you're not moving them. I'd get to work. I'd try to move them around. They would loosen up, but I still have the pain in the joints. And for anybody who's curious, so in your hand, if these joints only hurt, that tends to be osteoarthritis. But if these joints along in here hurt, that tends to be more autoimmune because they're not weight bearing and they're not joints that you usually use. You do a lot of things with your hands where you're like moving like this, holding pencils and stuff like that. But these joints and these top knuckles, if those are hurting, definitely go see your doctor because that's not a good thing. And that was one of the things that actually clued my husband in that I should go to the doctor. So then began the lovely little over 3-month journey to getting a diagnosis. I still don't have an official diagnosis. My lab work does indicate that I most likely have an autoimmune inflammatory process going on. Certain antibodies do lend to possibly being lupus, but they're actually extremely rare, and so they're not really definitive. I test negative for a lot of antibodies, so it's one of those things where my blood work's out of whack, but not enough to give a true diagnosis. So my rheumatologist has labeled it Sjogren's, which is essentially saying I have inflammation in my mucosal membranes. So I started on medicine for that, and around this time I also started on a different anxiety medicine. And holy crap, things just, I can't even describe how different they are. I don't have this paralyzing anxiety anymore. At work, I mentored an intern, and even though I worked with him every day, it would be really hard to get up the courage to just go tell him something that he needed to do, which is something ridiculous. He and I got along great, but I would have this paralyzing fear of talking. And if you've never really experienced anxiety, like true everyday anxiety, not just, oh my god, I have to go give a speech anxiety, it's like the worst thing. You know for a fact you shouldn't be bothered. You know that something as simple as calling for a pizza is no big deal. And yet it can feel as horrible as if you've been told, spur of the moment, you have to go give a dissertation to 5,000 people about something you've never even heard of, and oh yeah, you gotta go do it right this second. So just imagine that paralyzing fear that you'd feel. And then imagine feeling that over everyday simple tasks. I am very pleased to say that with medication and with finally realizing that, hey, I'm not crazy, there is a reason for the pain that I feel, I am doing infinitely better. So throughout this time, a lot of my Facebook posts had to do with my personal struggles as I was trying to find a diagnosis, as I was trying to deal with this anxiety, as I was, just trying to deal with all of this. And they were very, very, very personal posts. I didn't do a lot of book promoting at the time because I was trying to focus on myself. And I have the most amazing publisher who let me take the time I needed. When I would stress about getting a book out, she would just tell me, take my time. Even if it was on release day and I was still finishing it. Yes, please consider that fact, how most publishers would probably want to strangle their authors. She would tell me to take my time because she knew I had it in me to finish it and to finish it well. And if I hadn't had her, I would have probably gone insane because I would have wanted to give up on my dream of being an author. And she just really helped me to be able to focus on myself. So, fast forward again to about the last 2 months or so. My medicines are working wonderfully. I'm feeling so much better. So now I start promoting more. Now I'm really starting to get into the mindset of, okay, this is going to be my future career. Yeah, I'm a programmer, but that's not my passion. I enjoy it, but I love writing. I think about writing all the time. When I'm done for the day at work, I don't want to think about writing programs anymore. It's not a passion. So with the aid of these medications that have just broken through this fog, no longer being in pain all the time, no longer literally feeling like I'm 80 years old, no longer having to wake up 10 times during the night because my hands and my arms are in excruciating pain and numb, or because I am overheating to the point where I can't even stand to have the house at 62 degrees, a fan directly on me, and anything heavier than a thin sheet. I'm finally getting sleep. All of these ideas are rushing in. So I'm posting about all the good things, all of my ideas. I'm trying to promote my books more. And I'm really trying to show that, yeah, things are going great. But I'm not perfect. There are still bad days. There are still days when I'm in pain. The crappy thing about my medicine is I cannot take most over-the-over-counter medicines anymore. The medicine I take is a powerful anti-inflammatory, which means I cannot take any other anti-inflammatories. So, your ibuprofen, your Aleve, your Excedrin migraine, believe it or not, I can't take any of those, even though I do get chronic migraines. And on the days when I'm feeling that pain, I'm stuck with essentially Tylenol, which I'm sorry, that does not really work. Excedrin migraine actually does have an anti-inflammatory. That really used to help my migraines. Can't take it anymore. So I don't want people to think that I'm magically cured, because there are times when I'm still getting anxious. So I post about that. Well, when people aren't really used to that, I guess it comes across as jarring. Or, as one person described it, as me unraveling. I would like to say that could not be further from the truth. I'm doing so much better than I have been in a very long time. I have felt better than I have in a very long time. I am not exaggerating in the least when I say that I have my next 7 book titles figured out, as well as the general idea who they're going to be about. Not so much the plot, because I am a pantser. As I write, the story unfolds. To me, it's like a movie. I have limited control over it. I can change small details, but not the big picture, which can be terrifying if you know how you want a book to end, and you have to make sure you can get there, and the entire time you're writing that, you're not entirely sure if you can make it fit, but that's something for another video. So, in addition to that, I have at least another 3 or 4 book ideas in my head, just a huge well of books, and for someone like me, that's just the most amazing feeling. So, unraveling couldn't be further from the truth. But it really, really struck me to hear that someone would describe that in reference to me. And I guess one of the big things I want people to know is the reason why I am so open is people see anxiety, they see depression, they see all these invisible illnesses. You look at me, I don't have a big sign on my forehead that says, hey, suffers from anxiety, suffers from depression at times. For me, it is more anxiety than depression. Suffers from an autoimmune disorder, can be in constant pain at any given moment. I look normal. I'm a very hyperactive person. I do actually have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and can be the poster child for hyperactivity. So they look at me and they just think, hey, she's normal. Everything should be good, right? And there's a big stigma attached. So I'm open because I want to help people, even if it's just 2 people, 1 person. That was my dog, by the way. Whoever's out there, I want people to know that they're not alone. That it's okay to have really shitty days when you don't even want to leave your house because you're so anxious. At the same time, that you should just push through that and you should go. If you're sitting there thinking, hey, I'm starving, I don't want to cook anything, but oh my god, if I go to a drive-thru, I'm going to have to talk to somebody for all of 10 seconds. I don't want to do that. Push past it, and it's possible to make yourself get in your car, go to McDonald's or Wendy's or wherever you decided to go, and to do it. And I want to help people. And I also want people to know that for as wonderfully as I'm doing, I do still have those bad days. When I talk about it, it may seem jarring for people who have not followed me on my journey these past 2 years. But I'm not unraveling. I have things far more together right now than I ever have. And I'm even actually, in several of my upcoming books, planning to write characters that go through a lot of similar things that I am. Because, this is real life, people. as much as I write fantasy, paranormal, now military, romance where everything ends happily ever after, I want my characters to be real. My heroines tend to be sarcastic, tend to be stubborn, tend to be incredibly impulsive. Those are all character traits of myself. Um, as my husband has put it, writing, you should put part of yourself into it. Well, now I'm going to start branching out and putting in some of the more, not taboo, but some of the lesser talked about traits. My anxieties, in my military romance coming up, my autoimmune disorder, and some of the uncertainties and the fears that come with that. So, I have been thinking a lot about what ended up happening on Facebook. Things essentially devolved to where this one poster ended up deleting her comments and blocking me because she didn't like what I'd been posting and had said that I've turned her off of me and did not like that post I was just telling you about a little bit ago about how I was frustrated with people adding me to groups. So my message is this. If you friend me on Facebook, be prepared. You are going to see the not so happy side of me. A lot of times I do post crazy stuff. I post about my excitement about my upcoming author events that are going to be coming up in June. I post about my excitement about my new books. I post about my excitement about new covers. But I'm going to post the negative too. I'm going to let you know when, hey, I'm having a bad day. I may not be back on. Well, then, of course, I tend to come back on because Facebook is more than just a place for me to write and talk about my books. It's a place for me to find support from my readers and fellow authors who go through a lot of the same stuff I do. So, if that's not something you want to handle, I freely invite you to either just like my author page. You'll still get my information about my upcoming books. You'll still get to see the covers, get to see snippets, get to be involved in some of the contests, as well as joining my fan group. I'll post the link in the description for Lindsay Avalon's Lovelies. That's kind of my thing. I like to call people my lovely. I honestly don't know where that came from. Sorry, off topic. But you'll be in that fan group. It is closed strictly so that people can post whatever they want, but you are able to find it and be added to it. You don't need to friend me. You'll only see the book-related posts and some of my insanity. You're not going to see those private, hey, today's not one of my better days. Today kind of sucks. Hey, I could use a hug, people. Because everybody needs to know that they're not alone. And that for as good as you're doing, you are allowed to have your bad days. So, long story short, if you don't want to find out about that, stick to my videos that will be more book related. I will do my very best to make sure that they are labeled the way that they should be, whether they are more author related or more related to my anxiety, sensory processing, autoimmune issues. Yes, people, I do have a lot of issues. That's life. So, I'm sorry for getting a little bit emotional and sorry that this went on for almost 25 minutes. But I really hope that I am able to help some of you out there. And for those of you who aren't quite so interested in finding out about some of these struggles, like I said, I invite you to like my fan page and to join my fan group. You'll be kept up to date. The most you'll really get to see about my issues are in my books, in the acknowledgments or dedication, where I allude to those who go through the same struggles I do. Feel free to skip those. It won't hurt my feelings, I promise. And if you are currently one of my friends on Facebook and you don't want to see that, then please feel free to just unfriend me and move on. It's not going to hurt my feelings. I don't want to offend people. I do my best not to, but I'm not going to hide who I am. I'm not going to wear the mask that I'm perfect and everything's hunky-dory, because I've done that for a lot of my life, and it's really hard to maintain that. So thank you everyone for bearing with me. Thank you everyone who supports me, both with my personal issues, your messages of support and all of that, as well as just those who support my writing, those who buy my books, those who leave me reviews, those who take the time to send me a quick message saying, hey, I love your book. It means the world to me. So I hope you guys have gotten something out of my books, out of my stories, out of this video, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you.